Is this tradition disgusting or delicious? You tell me. Well, hello, lovely humans, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jamie Wolfer. I'm your online wedding planner, and today is the series finale for the 2024 season, aka the last video I'm going to be producing for the year, because your girl likes to take a week or two off after a long year of wedding planning content. But today's video is something that I'm not going to say I forgot. I'm not going to say that. I didn't forget because we're doing it, okay? It's just I'd love to wrap this up and put a little bow on it so I don't forget about it in 2025. And that is, about 5 months ago, I did a video called I'm a Budget Wedding Planner, Ask Me Anything. And there was quite a few questions in the comments that I never answered. So that's today's video. I don't think you can legally be mad at me if I do it in under 6 months and in the same calendar year, right? You're welcome. Also, if you've not done so already, jump on down there, hit that subscribe button, stick around for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. First question. I would love a deeper dive on how the timeline looks without a first look. So many people are pushing for a first look. It almost feels like the standard now. Can you do a detailed video on how the schedule looks, how it could be feasible to not do a first look? I probably could do a video on it. I don't think it'd be that detailed and I don't think it'd be that long. But let's go ahead and take a look-sees at the spreadsheet version of the timeline from the master plan that's traditional, which does not include a first look. You'll see at the very top here, and if you wanted to come join me in the master plan, I highly recommend it. This incredible spreadsheet workbook comes along with the program, and you can add in all of your times here to put together a pretty good timeline using if-then statements in the spreadsheet. Thank you. So the main thing that you're going to want to look at here is the importance of cocktail hour photos and the importance of taking photos within that time frame. That's the biggest thing that this is going to change. You probably will not be able to attend cocktail hour at all, and you'll be taking photos the entire time. I also encourage you to make sure that you give yourself probably a little bit more than an hour during cocktail hour, an hour and 15, even that extra 15 minutes of breathing room is going to be incredible, both for you and your photographer. I would also recommend possibly tossing in sunset photos if you want to. They're glorious. I love golden hour photos. I might be biased, but they're probably my favorite. The biggest difference that you'll see here is you have a lot more time to get ready for the actual event, and you will need to be a lot more focused when it comes to cocktail hour, including but not limited to make sure your family photo list is on point. Make sure you have a photo wrangler, someone who is there who recognizes all the people and knows all the names to assist the photographer, because think about it, for every pose that your family does, imagine it being 1 minute. So if you have 20 poses, it's going to be 20 minutes. And 1 minute is being on the conservative end of things. It could be 2 to 3, especially if Aunt Sally gets lost at the bar, you know, or someone's really chatty and no one's really paying attention because they're excited to see each other. So those would be the things I'd focus on. Having a good detailed family photo list, making sure your cocktail hour is a little bit longer, and maybe including sunset photos just to give you a little bit extra oomph to add to that portfolio. Question for next video. My wedding will be going around the colors dusty blue, baby blue, and silver. We will not have any bridal or groom's parties, so we are thinking to ask all of our guests in a very politely manner to dress or accessorize around those colors so that they can kind of merge into the theme. Of course, we will never oblige anyone, just highly recommend to use the palette in their dress choices. Is that rude or too harsh to ask? Any suggestions on how to ask politely to consider those colors when choosing their attire? Yeah, well, you'd probably get way better language Googling it than putting a budget wedding planner on the spot. On the spot. This is a pre-recorded video. Just don't have the right words to give you at the moment, so I'm suggesting Google as a suitable alternative. But no, I don't think it's rude, especially, I mean, if you use the word politely 7 times in this one little paragraph, like I think you really will emphasize that when you're sharing this with your guests. Come celebrate with us. Here are our wedding colors. We highly encourage you to join in if you feel so inclined. Yada, yada, yada. I would include that on the website and potentially in a details card in your invitation as well. Hey, Jamie, I have a question. Should we save the wedding cake? This video, along with several of your others, was super helpful and gave me some great ideas. Thank you so much. I've been thinking of doing a dessert table and getting a berry cake from Central Market for the cutting photos. I told my mom about this and she mentioned the tradition of saving the wedding cake for a year and then eating it. My partner said his parents have kept a piece in their freezer since he was a kid. What's the etiquette? Not that. That ain't etiquette. That's just weird. I'm sorry. It's not weird. Okay. To each his own. I would never. Is this tradition disgusting or delicious? You tell me. Okay, most basic reference I can give you is my own wedding. My cousin, one of my dearest friends in the entire world, is a wedding dessert baker. Like, she does dessert tables. This is what she does for a living. She was like, so help me, if you save this cake, I will riot. Okay, just call me and I'll make you a new one. Don't do that. It tastes disgusting. You have to wrap it so many times to get it to not have freezer burn. Like, it's just not worth it. It's not going to be good. The texture is going to be off. The flavors are going to be off. No. So, and she's got a very refined palate and she's very good at what she does. And I don't really like cake. So I didn't care. Okay. But I know that a lot of people buy into the hype and the superstition of it. In fact, I decided to go to the dark side of the internet, aka Reddit, and see what people were saying. If you know, you know. It's scary. Save layer of cake to the 1-year anniversary, cute or gross? Samesies, same question. I'm not a traditional person, but I really liked the idea of having the same cake of our wedding for our 1-year anniversary. I know it's silly, but it's almost the only tradition I do want. Wanted? Haha. However, I'm reading that most people that tried to do that ended up with a gross cake. Any of you doing it? Or know someone who did? Should I just forget about it and get a new cake for the anniversary? First comment says, we saved a bottle of champagne from the reception and drank that instead. Year-old cake seems sketchy. Our baker makes her clients a single tiered cake for their 1-year anniversary. See, same days. I don't think we took her up on it, but we could have. So we don't have to worry about risking gross cake. If you do plan on freezing it, wrap that sucker up tight and get it in the coldest freezer you can, like a deep freeze. Also, future husband has such a sweet tooth, I'll be surprised if there's any cake left over a day or two after the wedding. We have this same husband. If you save it, make sure it's really cake. Funny story, way back in 93, I carefully froze and saved my top tier for my romantic first anniversary. On the anniversary, we had a lovely dinner, blah, blah, and started to slice the cake, only to find out that the shady baker had provided a frosted double layer of actual, no joke, styrofoam. Okay. Someone responded and said, I would be so pissed. Getting all excited about the cake just to be let down. Oh, heck no. Okay. Also, this post is from 9 years ago, so don't. I was just looking for reference points to go over. I'm sure these still apply. The post was written in 93, but whatever, we're here. 93 was 10 years ago. Don't fight with me. That is actually a super, super common practice to add styrofoam in. There's even a comment on this original video, my original video of like Ask Me Anything, talking about how styrofoam inserts are really, really smart to use for your wedding, especially if you want that really, really big cake, that really epic style cake, but you don't want to pay for all those layers. Why? Because those layers get thrown away sometimes. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? But to make it more affordable, that's what they'll do. I haven't heard of the top tier being done, but I have heard of some of the bottom tiers being done. That makes a lot of sense. Maybe there's a lot of backlash in 94 when people are like, don't do it to the top, do it to the bottom layer, okay? Because that's the one we saved. You know, maybe this was like a cause, maybe this was the revolution of 94. Is to do styrofoam not on the top tier, but it's normal. It's not a shady baker. That's a very common practice. I just haven't heard of it being the top layer. So maybe that's, since changed. Don't say the wedding industry hasn't changed. Massive strides. As far as your question about the etiquette, there is no etiquette behind this. It's preference. This is a tradition where people would do this typically with fruit cake because it would last for such a long time. And that's the cake that they would save and then eat 1 year later. This is more preference. It's a tradition that people subscribe to for a sign of good luck. So if you eat it on your 1 year anniversary, that means you did good. You made it through 1 year. This cake will take you through the next 45. Congratulations. It's totally up to you. Personally, I wouldn't do it, but if you're all jazzed up about it, go for it. Just make sure you wrap it extremely well. Can we get a video about saving money on bar options and which one is better? Open bar, tab bar, ticket system, having a hard time deciding on that. I do have a DIY bar video. I don't think I've done something like this though. Let me know if you're interested in seeing something like that, like comparing all the bar options. The hard part is the price can be pretty subjective and vary by location, so I can't really give a lot of concrete answers to this, and that's probably why I haven't made an entire video on it. Jamie, I have a question. Do you necessarily need to serve snacks during the cocktail hour? I'm aware that my cocktail hour is going to be about an hour and a half, and I would be open to serving snacks and food while everyone is getting their drinks, but I'm worried about that food sitting out and possibly not being touched. And also, who sets that up? Surely we don't set it up before the ceremony. It would just be sitting out for far too long. Is it okay to have cocktail hour without snacks available? Just drink some water. Great question. You should probably have snacks, especially if it's an hour and a half. That's a really long time to ask your guests to go without food if they are consuming alcohol as well. When it comes to setting it out, I'm assuming based on this question that you don't have a caterer that is doing this for you and you're doing a little bit more of a DIY style thing. I would recommend having a family member or friend do this setup for you. Even just Costco style platters are like a total hit. I would recommend putting them on slightly nicer wood platters so you can't super tell that it's Costco, but you can have those pre-done, wrapped up in saran wrap and set in a fridge somewhere if there is fridge space at the venue that you're working with or having your event at. And then you can have them pull that out at the beginning of cocktail hour. You can also do something like a chip and salsa bar. That's what we did for our event. Is it very filling? No. Is it very fun? Yes, especially because there were family members on both sides that are chefs, are really good at making salsa, and we asked them to bring that as their gift. So everyone got to try all these different salsas. It was so fun. It was super delicious. It wasn't super filling, but it was interactive enough that people didn't realize that it wasn't filling. I hope. I don't know. My wedding was a while ago. Typically, it is your caterer who sets that out for you, but in a situation like this, I would ask a family member or friend to set up a DIY bar. We've also seen nachos done really successfully in the past. We have all of the toppings, anything that needs to be refrigerated could stay in there and then just get pulled out at the last minute. And then that like super natural gooey cheese over the top of that, yeah, buddy, that would be really, really easy to pull together as well. When researching vendors, what are ways you can research their personality? Ooh, I have never had this question and I kind of love it. I want a fun, vibrant photographer, but not sure how I find them. Okay, first of all, love that you're looking for personality here, especially from your photographer. Your photographer, your videographer, and your wedding planner or coordinator are going to be lovingly in your face on your wedding day. Okay, so you have to like their personality. I say this because I, at my own wedding, had an issue with a vendor whose personality was we were not vibing on the day. And that affected me greatly. I've also seen couples affected by picking out vendors with personalities that also affect them greatly. So this is why I put a big emphasis on this. But this person asked like a really great question. Like, that's great, but like, how do I find them? How do I find, like, I want fun and vibrant and personality, etc. My first thing to do would be to go to a local Facebook group. And I literally only use Facebook for Facebook Marketplace and Facebook groups. That's it. Nothing else. The boomers have taken it over. It's their happy place. Let's let them stay there. Okay. But groups for planning your wedding? Yes, absolutely. So I would go there. First things first, and just be like, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Anybody know of anyone? Because ideally in this group, not only do you have couples that are getting married, but you have other vendors as well who are like, oh my goodness, you would absolutely love this person. She's so vibrant and so full of personality, and you're really going to love what she brings to your wedding day. And I think that would be the best way of getting like a firsthand experience. And then just to make sure that you are truly signing up for someone with a vibrant and fun personality, I would go to their Instagram, I would go to their Facebook page if they have one, and follow them on socials and kind of see how they behave, see what their photos are like, and then schedule a call with them. If you pass through those few tests and you're like, you know what, you actually do seem great. You seem vibrant. I like your personality. I like how you write your captions. I like how people speak about you. I'd love to hear more. And then you'll know pretty quickly in that very first conversation what kind of personality you're dealing with. How long should a reception last? Okay. Disclaimer. Because I always have to put these. I'll never forget the one comment that I got from a video. Gosh, it might have been when I first got started like 6 years ago, where someone's like, she's clearly never been to a Nigerian wedding. No, I haven't, but I'd love to go. So if you want to invite me, I'd love to go. Okay, I would love to be there. My disclaimer is I can only respond to this question with the weddings that I've worked, with the different cultures that I've worked with, and with how much I charge for my packages, and the vendors I typically work with, how much they charge, like time-wise for their packages, okay? So if you're in Argentina and you're like, we don't stop partying till 4 a.m, that's cool. I don't work in Argentina. I hope your wedding planners charge accordingly. I don't even know. So for us, a typical event from start to finish is about 6 hours. We dedicate about 30 minutes to the ceremony, about an hour and a half to cocktail hour with like a little bit around there, and about 4 hours to the reception. Now, if we cut that cocktail hour down to an hour, then we got 4.5 hours of reception. So that's what we tend to look at. Sometimes we'll see an additional hour being added onto the end of the reception. So we're looking at more of like a 5 to 5.5 hour reception. But typically with the packages that I work with the couples that I work with, and the cultures that I've had experiences with, that tends to be our sweet spot, about 4 to 4.5 hours of reception. So you have your grand entrance, you have dinner, you have toast, you have perfunctory dances, and then you typically get somewhere between 2 to 2.5 hours active on the dance floor if that's what you choose to do. Thank you, Jamie. My question is, do you have any advice on how to communicate with vendors before a date is officially set, particularly photographers? Ooh, that's going to be hard. My fiance and I have decided the venue we want and would like to get married at the end of May 2025, but we're not able to book until he has his vacation booked. He cannot bid for his vacation until September, and although it is likely they will give him his preferred vacation dates, it is not guaranteed standard in his industry. We were wanting to have a very small event on a weekday. Oh, glorious. That's going to simplify things greatly. So our venue said that there should be no problem. I've heard that photographers do not want to talk with couples until they have a date set, but I'm nervous about the idea of waiting until fall to start looking. Well, we're in winter now, sis, so I hope you found something. I'm so sorry. Remember, you can't be mad. It's under 6 months in the same calendar year, okay? If you want actual help, if you need me to answer your questions in real time, you have to come join the master plan. I do live monthly calls. and I will walk through your budget with you. I'll walk through your timeline. I'll answer literally any question you have. That's where I can really and truly be your online wedding planner and help you tackle things like this. I'd really like to have as much research done as possible prior so that when we are finally able to set the date, we can basically immediately book the photographer as well. I do, however, want to be respectful of these photographers' time and not annoy anyone who I want to work with me. Do you have any advice on when I should start reaching out to them and how to do so appropriately? The fact that you are aware and not wanting to annoy vendors tells me that you're probably not going to annoy vendors. that awareness alone is like, yeah, honey, I think you're gonna be okay. Like, respectfully, you're so cute. I think that your saving grace in an instance like this is the fact that you are having your wedding on a weekday. Because for a lot of vendors, that's actually a really good thing. I will say, as a caveat, for me as a stay-at-home mom, that is not necessarily a good thing. That means I now need to find childcare because my husband is at work and someone needs to come watch the children, because I don't think you want my 4 children showing up at your wedding. Respectfully, I love them. They're super cute, but you don't know them. So that actually makes things a little bit more difficult for me. But that's my problem to deal with, not yours. Most vendors would look at this as, I get to make more money in a week without taking up a weekend? Absolutely. And that's what I would do, obviously, as a mom as well. I'd be like, yeah, this sounds incredible. I can find childcare, no problem. It just creates one little administrative detail for me to handle. But for most vendors, again, your saving grace is going to be the fact that you're having this on a weekday. If you're trying to ask them to save a Saturday for you, that's kind of a different conversation where you're just like, hey, I don't have a date for you. I'm just hoping you might be available on this day or this day. If we're looking at a weekday, it opens up your possibilities greatly. So you've probably already reached out. You've probably already had these conversations. Again, if you need more immediate answers, please come join me in the master plan. That also has the timeline that we were referring to earlier and a whole slew of other things. There's 10 modules, plenty of videos, tons of resources on how to save money, discounts on some of my favorite services for those who join up. Like, if you are planning a budget wedding, you absolutely need to be in the master plan. I'll go ahead and link it right here and down in the description box below if you're interested. So that's all we have for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like the video, jump on down there and like the video and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. And just to kick the can a little further down the line, why don't you go ahead and leave questions down below if you have some? And who knows, maybe in, 5 to 6 business months, I will respond to your questions too. And thanks again, guys, for another wonderful year. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. And until next year, bye, guys.